I took full length three, I believe.
Oh, so let's
All
add
right.
a spreadsheet.
Let me just see if
Mm-hmm.
I have access to the sheet because it wasn't letting me mess with it earlier, but it could have been because I was having weird Wi-Fi problems.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I still don't see the sheet that you shared. Did you share it with my personal email? Like it's like saying it's there, but then like anytime I try to open up my sheet, like I can't do it.
Try checking your email now.
Okay, let me see this time. Yeah, I'm good now. So I took full length three, yes, and
Yeah, when did you take it?
I took it last Saturday on 12/7.
All right, and the breakdown?
I got the same exact thing.
Oh, so what, 124 CP?
Yeah, 124, 123, 124, 127 actually for psych. So
Okay.
I've been really kind of grinding down on psychology because I have seen the most improvement with it. So I've been trying to jump with it and see if I can get my score up there. And I've been also grinding on cars to try to get my car score up because I
Yep.
don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have so many maps available for us to look through if you want. I also don't know if it's smart for me to keep up with doing cars with you because I've done so many cars reviews with you.
So what did you use for cars here?
I use Jack Weston practice exam.
Okay. Which one?
Let me just open it up really quickly. Sorry, I have so many tabs open.
Hmm.
I just use practice exam one.
Oh, the car section from that.
Yeah, but I like skip through the whole entire exam and just use the cars.
Okay.
But I was wondering if you could go through instead of that exam, because I went through that exam already. I have a cars passage that I did. It was a standalone that I marked down from December 9th for you and I to go through because I like bombed this one. Like I had like did really bad on the December 9th Jack Weston.
Uh-huh.
So I was wondering if you and I could compare my map for that one and kind of see what was wrong with what I did there for me to, I guess, for one that I actually did really, really bad on and kind of figure out. Because the main idea I had, I don't remember, because it was a couple days ago. I don't remember if the main idea matched with what I had put, but I feel like I mean, I can open it up with another email so I don't have access to my data and I don't see the answer choices I put in.
Which passage is this?
It's like something about a Catholic, like Catholic faith. I'm trying to find it. It's from December 9th. Where is it? Let me see. December 9th. I think it's Le Verbe, the music one. I still have it open on my thing if you want me to share my screen.
Yep.
But just for an update alongside that, I finished all of You World Psychology, like I told you, and doing, I've been hammering down the Anki for it now to try to get my score up.
Hmm.
I don't, in terms of psychology, do you think there's anything else I can do? I started doing the Jack Weston like discrete questions that go along with psychology because I finished U World, so I'm kind of all out of questions. Unless I repeat the section bank, or I might end up buying section bank. I think they released a second section bank.
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be something that you definitely want to do. But aside from that, uh psych soc is usually like it's mostly like terms.
Hmm.
So you could use Anki for that as well as the S tier study creation like spreadsheet that I made in the shared drive.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you want me to send you the map I made?
Um, well, we can read it and then make a map and then we can compare it to your map after.
Okay.
So
So,
yeah, let's have you zoom out more so we can see the pa entire passage.
okay. I guess, oh, let me hit the comments. I guess my concern is since I'm like a month away from testing, when do you think it's like I'm gonna pass 125? Or how can I at least do that? At least hit 125? Because I'm starting to get like really nervous.
What was your overall goal score?
I am okay with hitting like at like a 508, a 506 even. But I mean, I'd be really happy if I hit a 510.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if that's maybe I'm assuming I can do too much with my exam scores now. I have jumped obviously since the first time I took it from like the lower 490s to the sorry, give me 1 second.
Hmm.
From the upper 490s to the lower 490s, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out what I can do. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, let me reshare my screen. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, do you think it's possible for me to jump? I'm gonna try to finish all of U World within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe if I do that, I don't know.
If you want like a you said like a 510, 506, it might be
506, 510.
wait, what's that?
Like, yeah, 506 to 510 range.
Yeah, so we may how do you feel about pushing the exam back?
I have been trying, I think I told you from my first meeting, I've been trying to get the January 24th date, but no one has dropped it.
Oh, I mean beyond that.
Do you think I should push beyond that to March?
If like possible, what would you think
I
about?
mean, realistically, because the reason, I guess since, I mean, I'm not like working right now, I want to get like, I mean, I want to go back to full time. I'm only working part time right now, but I realistically want to go back to working full time. So I don't know how feasible that would be. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I can get it up inside the next month?
To 506?
Yeah.
Hard to say. Because you're scoring around, and granted the blueprint tests are deflated, but you're scoring around like a little less than like 50th percentile here, and a 506 is going to translate into 67th percentile, and a
Mhm.
510 translates into 79th percentile. So,
Mhm.
um, so like what I mean by telling you this is that it's not just like a couple of it's not like it's just like 8 points or whatever. It's that it represents a different type of percentile. So like right now you're scoring roughly like, around like in the middle, I guess, between meaning like you're scoring uh higher than let's say like 48% of the people who are taking the test. So the 506 would be a score that's higher than 67%, right?
Mhm.
So if you want that 506, you'll have to do like somewhat like a pretty large jump. And we can probably, so, okay, now so what we have planned involves, oh, wait, oh, sorry. So yeah, what we have planned involves doing well, let me see. Because you did blueprint full length 3. Yeah, so I guess our schedule that we made is we've gone behind it because
Yeah, I wasn't taking the full lengths because I mean I got COVID for a week
yeah.
and then there was I just feel like I felt like for a little bit I didn't feel prepared enough to take them.
So so it so what we had originally planned was for you to have finished like 10 of the blueprint exams, you know,
Uh-huh.
by the 21st of this month, which is,
Yeah.
next week.
And
And
then by that I'd have probably five done.
and then after that, the AAMC ones that you haven't done. Uh,
Yeah.
but since you are really up to, your next one will be Blueprint Full Length 4, it doesn't seem like we'll be able to fit all of the blueprint tests that you have
Mhm.
in this, in the this month over here. So I
Mhm.
think that pushing it back might be, I mean, it's what I would do in your position because like I understand that, you want to get back to like work, like, your job, but
Mhm.
I think that yeah, I think that, because we kind of fell behind in terms of the practice tests and
Yeah.
even if you get like on your next practice test like a 502 or something like that,
Yeah.
um it's still going to be, and let's say you get higher scores on the rest of the practice tests that you take, that's only going to be like 3 or 4 practice tests. And, and even if some of those tests show that like a 506, we want to be able to consistently score that 506.
Okay. So when do you think I should realistically take the exam then?
Yeah. Let's see. So,
Because I just want to make sure that I can redraw a schedule then and kind of figure it out because I I need to do well on this exam.
yeah.
Realistic.
So if that's your priority, then absolutely, um, I would absolutely push it back like that. So I'm gonna add the rest of these months to your spreadsheet.
Yes, because I am looking at March 8th, nothing available. March 24th or 21st. There's also nothing available. So it's it starts getting pushed back into it gets pushed back kind of far at that point. So then what do you suggest I should do? Because even April, there's nothing available. April 5th, there's nothing available.
Yeah, so they'll be, it'll be like that, for now, but like people are going to be like, okay, I'm not ready, so they're likely going to, push it back and you'll get openings.
Yeah. So then how can I push it back without, I guess I should book a June one and then wait for a March one to open, or do you think I should keep my January one up until the 10-day deadline, or what do you think I should do then?
Well, the 10 day, you would have to pay a charge for the 10-day deadline, right?
Yeah, I think I would pay because the first one that's open is the 15th of May. May 15th is open.
Yeah. So I would, schedule it for something like that. That way you don't have to pay the fee,
Yeah.
right? And if other times open up uh between now and then, you can, get that seat. But if you're, applying, in 2025, you have until June.
Yeah.
So
I just kind of because of the working thing, I just want to try to, I guess, I don't know.
yeah, there's, conflicting kind of views on this. Like, a lot of pre-meds kind of view the MCAT as like, I just want to, get it over with so I can, move on with my life and do blah blah blah. And then
Yeah.
there's the other mindset of this is the most important test I'm going to take in my life. So
Yeah.
it I think that this view is better because
Yeah.
you view it as something that you just have to get over with in order to be a doctor. Um, I don't think that that attitude will help too much. But if you view it as this is the most important test of my life, and I'll do whatever it takes to do well on it,
Yeah.
that way, you know, you that mindset I think is better. So whatever it takes, yeah, like because you could also maybe see it like this, like is the work that you'll be able to get back to after you take your MCAT, is that worth more than securing a high score?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the score is like more important because it's what's going to get me to the destination that I need to be at. But I guess I'm a little stressed about moving it and then not getting the date too that I want, and then like being stuck in like
Well,
um
worst case scenario is what? You just take it in May, right? That means
yeah,
you'll get more studying done, which means you're still going to have a higher score and it's still in time for applications.
yeah. Okay. Well
So,
then can we redraw this to kind of aim for March then, and then I guess figure out, and then I'm gonna try to take it in March, and then I'm sure people will drop it. It's just a matter of like I guess redrawing it and taking it in March.
yeah. So, let's see. Full length 3 was on the 7. You had all 10 of the blueprint exams, or was it?
Yeah, I have all 10, and then I haven't taken those two AAMCs.
Yeah.
But so then by March, do you think I can achieve my goal score realistically?
Let's see how much here I'm adjusting your thing now.
Okay.
So, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna move it then because I want to do the best that I can do, and I cannot afford to fail this exam again, unfortunately.
Um, you took it before,
Yes, I took it in September.
9 something.
I took the very last day. I think it was 9/12.
Okay. Uh, I'm gonna just put it in your, oops.
Yeah, I 9/14. Sorry. But when I took it in 9/14, I was also working full time.
What was the breakdown?
Mm, I
I know,
can pull it up.
yeah, I know you probably told me this like when we first met, but I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put it in your
I know I got a 492.
okay.
Ooh, which sucked because at that point I was scoring 500. So, I don't also I think the other thing I don't understand is when it comes to actual test day, I feel like I don't do as well because well, I understand at that point my palm wasn't scanning in the palm reader when I was taking the exam, so I lost 10 minutes in the cars section.
Oh, when you're coming back, you're saying?
Yeah, because the first time I had to scan in, it didn't catch my palm, so he had to scan me in like 10 times for the system to reset.
Yeah.
And
Got
then it okay, so yeah, 124, cars 121, 122, and then 125 on site.
Okay.
So at least I'm doing better than that.
Yeah. All right. 492. Okay, yeah, you are doing better than that. We, yeah, I adjusted the schedule for Blueprint falling 4, 5. This is going to be 6, 7.
Okay, and then technically I'm supposed to be traveling, I guess, now during that time. So how do I guess,
Calvin
handle it?
time.
I'm supposed to go into Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like family
So
over?
what happened?
Or like, do you have family there or like,
No, I'm just going to do Umrah. And
got it, got it, got it.
so, I mean, during that time, obviously I can't study, which would
What,
then
when is that?
I'm supposed to be going to, I think I'm going in like literally 2 weeks after the 11th. I'm supposed to be going, as of right now, I think it's supposed to be like the 16th through the 20th week.
Wait, you said
Not, I'm sorry, I'm looking at September. I'm supposed to be going like sometime between like the 15th to like the
of
20th
of what month?
of January
Okay. He said from the 15th.
to like the 23rd.
Okay.
But like realistically, if I can't go, then obviously I won't go because this is more important than
No, it seems like so I'm putting in um the stuff in your spreadsheet and it does seem, we do have extra time.
yeah.
So, let's see. And it was just the AMC, the ones that you haven't done was AMC full length. There are two of them.
Yes, there are two of them.
It was like three and something.
Uh, yes, it was three, and I think it was I have never taken the unscored.
The sample.
Yeah, the sample test.
Got it.
I've never taken three, full length three. I've taken full length two twice, full length one twice, and full length four twice.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we can fit in a lot of stuff here. So basically, you're gonna take your blueprint full length 4 this weekend, next
Yeah,
blueprint full length 5, then blueprint full length 6, and then
I'm not seeing the new months you added for February. Oh, there it is, copy. I just had to refresh.
yep.
Okay.
From December, you'll be doing up till blueprint full length 6, and then January blueprint full length 7, 8, then your trip, then blueprint full length 9, and then February blueprint full length 10, and then your since we have some time, if you're gonna take it in March, like because if we did it one, a test a week, you will finish all of that by like February 15th, like around February,
Mhm.
mid-February. So we do have some extra time, which is nice. So we might have you do after you finish the last blueprint full length, like maybe some other third party full length, like maybe the Jack Weston ones or stuff
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, this gives us plenty of time. Um,
Mhm.
and then yeah, the UWorld stuff in between. So you'll probably be able to finish UWorld as well. And then we can say like by the end, um, you could do the AMC section bank too.
Mhm. Okay, sounds good.
So this way we will have taken, yeah, I'll add these to we will have taken 10 blueprint tests total and the two AMC tests, so 12 tests total.
Yeah.
We'll probably be able to fit in like I think there's six of the Jack Weston ones. So that'll be like theoretically 17,
Mhm.
tests.
But realistically, you think that by the 11th, I wouldn't be able to get my goal score?
You said,
Like
oh,
by January 11th, if I had kept my original date, you don't think I'd be able to get it?
so if you took it on January 11th, then that means so that's when you would for the new schedule take Blueprint full length 8.
Mhm.
And then the 2 weeks before that would be the AMC tests instead. So that's going to be subtracting. So one, two, three, subtracting three of those tests. So that would leave you with Blueprint, six of the, or rather, five of the Blueprint tests, and then two of the AMC tests. So that's seven tests if you take it in January versus a minimum of uh 12 tests. So seven tests if you take it in January, and a minimum or at least 12 tests if you take it in March.
Okay.
So that's almost double the amount of tests. And it might even be double or more than double because we still have extra time for if you take it in March. Um,
Okay.
to fit in. So let's say theoretically we fit in the six Jack Weston ones. That'll be 18 tests, right? If you take it in March compared to the seven if you take it in Jan on January in January.
Mhm.
So, you know, so that'll be like almost three times the amount of tests. It'll be nine uh or rather 11 additional tests that you will take. So
Yeah.
take it in January, you'll get seven tests in. If you take it in March, you'll get between 12 and 18 tests.
Okay. Yeah. And the
And
goal is to do well. So,
yeah,
okay.
the single best way of doing that is by doing as many practice tests as possible because that's where you put yourself into that testing condition. And uh, yeah, that's going to be the goal.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So then now with the cars issue of I jumped from 121 to 123 in the time that we have been testing, I guess.
Okay.
So, do you think I'm doing all the right things then, or what else can I be doing?
So you said the drop from what, 124 to 123, you're saying?
No, I jumped from the first test I took from 121, I went up to 123 now. So, realistically, like what else can I be doing other than like the I do like the one Jack Weston passage a day
Yeah.
plus my map every single day in addition to like the full lengths. So
Yeah.
what else should I be at? Should I do more than one a day then, or what else can I do?
Yeah. So when you check the Jack Weston main idea, like, does that line up with what you have as your main
Yeah,
idea?
like I feel like it like for 80% of the time I usually have it. It just depends on like the type of passage I'm reading and if it's like super like dense with content and things that are confusing me.
Okay, okay. Now, so all right, so we can maybe like take a look at one of those. But I would say, yeah, if you're starting to get the main idea, then it could be simply a matter of, the questions being tough. And so we can work on the questions more so.
Yeah, because now I feel like for the like if it's 7 questions, I'll usually miss two. If it's 6 questions, I typically miss one. But for this one, I think I got it 2 out of 5. Maybe.
Okay. So, yeah. So this is going to be, um, and also when you're reading it, kind of like describe to me like how that is. Like, for instance, like, yeah, I guess like, yeah, tell me what, when you're reading it, like are you like actively thinking? Are you like,
So I do it the exact same way that we do it, where I will read it and then I read it really slowly and I then think about like I'll try to break it down in my own words.
yeah,
And I also try to kind of be like, oh, I would highlight this, like, oh, this is um like, oh, it says yet. I need to highlight yet. Oh, this is an example of what they're talking about. Like like I try to kind of piece the story the way that we usually do it.
yeah, got
I
it.
think the problem is though I haven't gotten and I tried the new time thing where I at like question 20 then I looked at the clock,
Good,
but
good.
I feel like I'm still very slow
Yeah. So,
because it takes me a while to just kind of like be like, okay, I got all the information. This is the main idea. Now I can move forward.
yeah. So, so yeah, like in the, did you ever see like that soft skills kind of document I put in the shared drive?
Don't think so. I can take a look.
So, yeah, there's actually a paper, like a published paper about like how to do well on the MCAT, and one of the most important things that they said is reading or processing information as you read is a skill that can take years to develop. And the best way to strengthen this skill is by is by reading as much as is by simply reading as much as possible. So I think that the reason that cars is so difficult for people, um, and uh you can confirm this by seeing that, like if you ever look up MCAT percentiles, you'll see that the cars section always has the lowest median score.
Mhm.
Uh, Actually, yesterday I discovered like because I was looking at historic ones, like as the years progress, the median scores have been going down. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that something I've also observed is that, well, other like tutors that did well in cars, like something that we all have in common is that we've always read a lot. And so for me, like yesterday, I was going over a passage with a student, and it was like for a lot of students, it's easy to get bogged down and with like the words and stuff. But if you can get to the point where you can kind of see the entire passage at a glance and you kind of see the big picture like that, then that's going to be very useful. Of course, that takes a while to get to that point. So with enough practice, yeah, yeah. So I mean, we'll see from this paragraph like what you can work on specifically,
Yeah.
but it's certainly not easy. And you know, and even the paper says it takes years, and obviously we don't have years, so we're gonna do the best that we can. So yep,
Mhm.
you can start.
When asked about sorts of impressions that French composer Oliver Messiaen wished to communicate in composing and the impressions he wanted to convey to those who listened to his work, he replied that the first idea I wanted to express, the most important, is the existence of the truths of Catholic faith.
Okay. What are we saying here?
So there's this French composer named Olivier Messiaen, and he is a composer who hopes to convey the Catholic faith through his work. And that's the most important idea for him to convey in his work.
Um, okay, yeah. The truths of the capital Catholic faith. Okay.
The illumination of the theological truths of the Catholic faith is the first aspect of my work, the noblest and no doubt the most useful and most valuable, perhaps the only one I won't regret at the hour of my death.
Okay.
I guess this kind of elaborates on what he's saying, where the Catholic faith is the most important aspect of his work.
Okay.
Um, his masterpiece of organ music, meditating on the birth of Jesus Christ, Le Verbe, exemplifies his faith.
Okay.
So he has this piece of work called Le Verbe, and it shows off his faith. And the thing um it's about the birth of Christ.
All right. So what color would I highlight this?
Um the Le Verbe is an example of his work.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be orange.
Perfect. There we go. So what do we flip to this paragraph?
Um that Messiaen's hopes to convey Catholic Church through his work. And he does so in Le Verbe, or example Le Verbe.
The composer Messiaen conveyed truths of Catholic faith in his works. For example, baby birth Jesus in Le Verbe. Good.
Okay. So it seems rather likely that Messiaen's intentionally used the Easter sequence of Catholic hymns in the composition of Le Verbe. So he Messiaen used the Easter sequence of Catholic hymns in Le Verbe. I guess it's very obviously put.
Yeah.
Robert Sherlaw Johnson's original suggestion about the presence of ancient Catholic Easter song sequence Victimae Paschali Laudes in La Verbe appears to be correct.
Right. So what are we seeing here?
So there's this person named Robert Sherlaw Johnson, and he suggested that um the Catholic Easter song is in La Verbe, or like this specific sequence in La Verbe is correct, I guess. Like his original suggestion is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So he regards Messiaen's use of this sequence as merely functional. The sequence which Messiaen, oh wait, I guess, yeah. The sequence which Messiaen has taken as his model for La Verbe is an early example of the form and has nothing to do with his belief. So he says the use of the hymn that was mentioned previously is like the purpose of it is for sole functional purposes.
Yeah.
Um, However, given Messiaen's decidedly theological intentions, Johnson's assertion might be modified.
Oh, so I added so this functional thing, like what does that mean exactly? So it seems like it is something to do with form and nothing to do with his actual belief.
Yeah.
Then we have our contrast word here, however, given Messiaen's decidedly theological intentions, Johnson's assertion might be modified. What does that mean?
So it's saying that based off of Messiaen's intention of wanting to always first portray the Catholic faith, Johnson's like belief and suggestion should probably be modified or changed to
Yep,
portray that.
good.
Um,
Let me say here.
so I would say that um Johnson's assertion on functionality of hymns and the verb should be modified.
Tell me that again.
So I said that Johnson's assertion or Johnson's assertion of functionality of him and le verbe should be modified.
Uh, why though? Why would it should be? Why should it? So what's meant by functional and what's meant by, why would the
So
op
functional means nothing to do with his belief, but it should be modified to reflect that Messiaen's whole use of the Catholic hymns should was for portraying his belief.
Yeah, so we could say Messiaen used Easter Catholic hymns in Le Verbe. Johnson says that I just put VPL, the Victima Patale Latis, whatever. Um, ancient kind of hymn or whatever. In Le Verbe was functional and not about his belief, but this may not be true because of M. Messiaen's theological intentions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Certainly, in looking at the more contemporary scholarships of Raymond Brown, it is reasonable to think that there is a relationship between the Christmas stories of Christ's birth and his death and resurrection, the events which are commemorated during Easter. The story of Jesus' conception is the vehicle of the good news of salvation. In short, it is gospel. Early Christian writers wrote the birth stories.
You could stop there because
Yeah, kind of long.
yeah, so and you want to do that also, like, you want to analyze stuff as you read it, uh,
Yeah.
instead of, reading it and then analyzing. So let's just, start from the top, like, and go comma by comma. So, first, they're saying certainly in looking at the more contemporary scholarship of Raymond Brown, it is reasonable to think that there is a relationship between the Christmas stories of Christ's birth and his death and resurrection, the events which are commemorated during Easter. What are we saying here?
So it's saying that so this person, Raymond Brown, um, it's saying that it's because of him, it's reasonable to believe that there exists a relationship between Christ's birth and death and resurrection.
So Christmas is about Christ's birth, and Easter is about his death and resurrection, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the story of Jesus' conception is the vehicle of good news of salvation. In short, it is gospel. Do you want me to stop there?
Yep. So, yep. What are we saying here?
So the story of Jesus, it's saying it's like it is like I guess like it delivers the good news of salvation.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So early Christian writers rewrote the birth stories in light of later insights, and those later insights involved an adult Christ who had died and risen. So it's saying that previous writers, or early Christian writers had altered the story of Jesus Christ to include an adult Jesus who had died and risen.
So we could say the story of his conception is related to the adult Christ who died and rose, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Brown elsewhere summarizes that the Christmas crib lies under the shadow of the cross. So I remember when I was reading that phrase, I have no clue why it was in there and the significance of it.
Mhm.
Like that was something that made absolutely no sense to me.
So
And
let's
I think it came up in a question too, which is what threw me off.
let's think about what it can mean, right? What does it mean if you're in the shadow of something?
You're
Figure.
hidden.
I mean, figuratively.
Oh, like I guess like if you remain in someone's shadow, they consistently block you and overpower you.
Uh, so let's say more so that that you yeah, so pretty much what you said, but also it could mean that you only exist in relation to that person.
Yeah.
So if we're saying here that we are talking both about Christmas, Christ's death, and sorry, birth, and then death and resurrection as in Easter, and that early Christian writers wrote the birth stories or rewrote the birth stories in light of later insights, meaning insights that happened after this story. Um, and those later insights involved an adult Christ who had died and risen, means that any story about Christ's birth is in the shadow of his eventual death,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's what they mean by Christ's crib, aka birth, is in the shadow of the cross, aka where he died.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what can we put here?
There exists a relationship between Christmas and Christ, like Christmas, like in parentheses, Christ's birth, and or I guess like or his it's like Christmas and Easter or his birth and death.
Mhm. So I wrote, according to Brown, relates Christ's relationship between Christ's birth in parentheses Christmas and death slash resurrection in parentheses Easter. That the former, do you know what I mean when I say former and latter?
Like the his birth, like maybe like the first is inside the present, like in the shadow of the last.
I mean like when I use the word former and
Yeah, yeah,
latter, what do
yeah. Like latter, you're referring to like the previous sentence, like like the first or like like what's said at the end
So which one is the former? Christ's birth or death and resurrection?
is birth.
Good. And the latter is the death and resurrection, right? All right.
Um, can one, however, be sure that Messiaen recognized this relationship explicitly so convincingly over 40 years after the composition of Le Verbe? So it's saying the author's trying to say, are we certain that Messiaen that there that we are we certain that Messiaen recognizes the relationship that was stated in paragraph 3?
Mhm.
Um, So, for such an answer, one should look to writings with which Messiaen was known to be familiar.
Okay.
So, in order to figure out if he knew this relationship in La Verbe, we should look at other writings of which he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Messiaen acknowledged being influenced by one particular book by Dom Columbia Marmion. So, it's now giving an example of a book he's familiar with.
Yeah.
Um, Within the text, Marmion makes a claim foreshadowing that of Brown. It is from the crib that he inaugurates this life of suffering, such as he willed to live for our salvation. This life of which the term is at his death and resurrection, and that in destroying sin is to restore us the friendship of his Father. So he, I guess, most important, like he says something that foreshadows or predicts, kind of like gives like leeway into what Brown would later say. Um, that the birth, um, um, I guess like talking about like the significance of his birth in terms of functionality,
What what does that mean exactly?
like what his birth kind of served to do.
Which
Like,
which is?
um, I guess inaugurate this life of suffering is what he said. So kind of like
What does that mean?
so to well, when I think of inaugurate, I think of inauguration day. So kind of letting in some like the beginning of a new
Uh-huh.
like the beginning of a new era, I guess.
Yeah, so it's from the crib that he inaugurates this life. So that's where things start.
Yeah.
But it's a life of suffering, right? So, how about so? Okay, we're talking about this relationship that that Marmion, you know, brought up that
Mhm.
predicted what Brown would say. And what did Brown say? What was the main thing that Brown said?
That there's function like the um that Massian used the hymn that was mentioned for pure functional purposes. He had no purpose of like portraying religion.
Uh, wait, where, where do we talk about Brown?
Sorry, I think I'm mixing it up with Johnson. Sorry. The relationship between Christmas and death. Okay, that would make things a lot more clear. That's why I said that this was referring to like the functionality because I was just going back and thinking of this because there's so
Uh,
many names.
yeah. So tell me what Brown was saying.
That there exists a relationship between the birth and death of Christ.
Good. So here, Marmion is saying the same thing, right? Saying that, his birth is connected to his eventual death, right?
Yeah.
And it says the crib is certainly only the first stage, but it radically contains all the others up to and including his death. What could that mean?
Um, um, that his birth is only the first.
So it's the first stage because
Yeah.
that's where he's born, but it's like his death is also contained in that first stage.
I guess I'm also lost about what they mean by it radically contains all the others,
All the others could mean all the other what?
like stages of his life. Is that what it's referring to?
Yep. So all the other stages of his life up to and including his death.
Okay. So, okay.
So it's like saying like Christ's birth is tied with his fate of dying. It's not like you can do anything. It's not like when he's born you can take him to like, some other country or something and be like, "Hey, you're gonna survive now." Um,
Yeah.
Kind of sealing his fate.
Okay. Um, Given this influence, it is reasonable to conclude that Massian's Le Verbe connects Christ's birth to his death.
Mhm.
Okay.
What can you?
So, um, in order to see that Massian recognizes um the connection between Christ's birth and death, we have to go back to works he was familiar with.
Um, but like, what work?
The work was a book by Dom Columbia Marmion.
Yep. So I just put Marmion, arrow to the above, connects Christ's birth to his death. Uh, Marmion. So I should say like Marmion says that le verbe is what connects Christ's birth to his death.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just a little confused because I thought, wait, when you say Marmion says La Verbe connects Christ's birth to his death,
Yeah.
um, I thought that Marmion's work came before La Verbe.
Yep.
So are you trying to say, oh, like
Oh, sorry, you said came before le verbe?
I thought Marmion's work came before La Verbe was written. I think I'm having trouble understanding this paragraph, I think.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, or after, I think I've confused myself.
Okay, well, okay, if Messiaen, the guy who made Le Verbe, was
Mhm.
influenced by Marmion, then yeah, that is true. But I think what I'm writing here is that yes, Marmion connects Christ's. All right, so here I'll adjust it.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I had it correct.
Oh no, you're right. You're right on this. So okay, we could say that. I put Messiaen, influenced by Marmion, connecting Christ's birth to his death, and that this is conveyed in Liverbe.
Okay.
Yep.
Marmion's argument concerning the significance of the cross for the incarnation is substantial, constituting the fourth or five points in the chapter. The fourth of 5 points in the chapter. Messiaen could not have missed it.
All right.
Okay. So it's kind of keying into what Marmion's text was saying and how the cross was like the cross and the incarnation on the cross and it being so much of the book, there's no reason for Messiaen to have missed that there was a connection between the birth and death of Christ.
Okay.
For both Marmion and Messiaen, Easter has everything to do with Christmas and vice versa. So I guess just going into what I had said, for both of them, there's a connection between Christmas and Easter. Far from being an event about a little baby, the manger is used to proclaim the whole gospel of life.
Okay.
So it's kind of going into the fact that this isn't just about a baby being born. This has to do with um the whole, like all of life.
Mm-hmm.
His Le Verbe is his expression of this fundamental Christian belief that Christ's humble birth in a manger is tied to his eventual sacrifice on the cross. Okay, so it says it's trying to say that in La Verbe, it contains the fundamental, like the most important, like the central Christian belief that there's a linkage between Christ's birth and death.
Yep.
It should come as no surprise then that Victimae Pascale Laudes would find its way into Massian's Le Verbe, a musical essay on the nativity.
Okay.
So it, I guess, ties back into the hymn that was mentioned. And it says that it should come as no surprise then that because of this linkage that you can find the hymn in Le Verbe.
Mhm. All right. Kind of saying it's significant or the significance of the cross for incarnation connects Easter to Christmas. So, all right, what can we put as our main idea here?
The main idea is that there is a linkage between Christmas and Easter, or Christ's birth and death in Le Verbe. Or I guess not there is, but Massian recognized the link between Christmas and like Massian, like his goal is to show the Massian shows the Catholic faith through his recognition of the linkage between Christ's birth and death, I guess is how I would put it.
Yep. So Le Verbe connects Christmas, which is the birth, to Easter, the death and resurrection of Christ.
Yeah.
So you can take a screenshot of the passage with the highlights in the map, and yeah, now let's look at your map and let's compare.
Okay. So in my map for the first one, I said for paragraph one, I said Massian wants work to convey Catholic faith. Le Verbe shows.
Um, there's no way for you to upload
Um,
map.
yeah, I can actually airdrop it to myself
Yeah.
and then I can share that screen. I could try to do a mirror type of situation.
Okay.
Let me try to be technologically savvy for a second.
Mm-hmm.
AirDrop. What has- If I stop the share, will it mess up everything? So I should not stop the share, just pause it.
Oh,
Oh,
uh, so I guess you're just sharing your tab.
it's saying my AirDrop is failing, so I should just probably email it to you then.
Yeah, yeah, we do that.
Okay, I just sent it to you. So Shane, I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quickly while you open that.
Yep. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't get the email.
Interesting. Let me try to text it to myself. And then that way, from there,
Mm-hmm.
I can just open it up on my laptop because I'm certain that will work. Oh, looks like my AirDrop actually ended up coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me open it up. And then, should I just do a new share?
Oh no. Leave the share, but see if you can send that to me. So like if you have you could send it to the Zoom chat if you want.
Okay, there. I chatted it to you.
Let's see. So Miss Ain wants work to convey
Catholic fee.
uh, and okay, that's fine. Two, Easter sequence of Catholic hymn equals functional. Johnson assertion equals modified. Um,
I guess, and that I don't explain kind of like what we do on the map we did together, where what functional means.
uh-huh. Okay. Let's see. P3, Brown relationship, Christmas birth plus death, resurrection, early writers
Let's say rewrote.
wrote. Let's see.
I've been trying to also be a little shorter, like kind of like so I can do it faster.
Yeah, so I think paragraph three is fine with relationship. Um, as yeah, okay. And then paragraph four, Messiaen, influenced by Marmion and connects Christ's birth to death in Le Verbe. Okay, that's good. Five, Easter has to do with Christmas. All right. Main idea, Messiaen shows Catholic. Okay, so I think that's where you went wrong.
Yeah, this I know this main idea. I remember when I did the Jack Weston one, this one was completely left field.
Oh, because you're just being very, very vague here. Like,
Yeah.
what you're saying he shows his Catholic faith via influence of others? Like, what does he show in his Catholic faith? What influence does he have from others, right? So I think that your main idea is too vague and because it remember we're doing in cars we're all about doing arguments, right?
Yeah.
But is it an argument to say that, I mean, I guess, but is it really an argument to say that this guy's work shows something about Catholic faith?
Um, that's I wouldn't say it's necessarily an argument. I feel like that's just kind of a given.
Yeah, because it's so vague that it's hard like to argue against that. So
Yeah.
so what you want to do when you make your main idea is you look for repeated arguments. So
Uh-huh.
he says to convey Catholic faith in paragraph one, and that's it, right? That's the only time they mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't constitute a main idea, right?
Yeah.
And we said that he was influenced by Marmion in paragraph four, right?
Yes.
But we didn't repeat that. I mean, we did talk more about Marmion in paragraph four, but we didn't like repeat how he's influenced.
Yeah. So it doesn't come up enough for it to be like versus the Christmas connection to Easter comes up a lot more.
Yeah,
The connection to birth and death, I guess.
you also wrote influence of others, but
It's just one person.
yeah, because Brown like
Yeah, I think once I started seeing too many names, I also kind of, like you saw, I kind of mix up their arguments a little bit, or like what they're trying to, like I guess the functionality of including each like per person.
uh-huh. Well, it seems
So
yeah. I mean, it seems like I mean in your map things are consistent. Like Johnson, paragraph two, uh,
yeah,
Brown, paragraph three, and then Marmion, paragraph four and five. And
yeah, I guess like as I start like while I'm reading, it's just there's so many names like running in my head that as I'm trying to comprehend it, like I have to take a step back and be like, okay, this person thinks this person thinks that. And then that also kind of, I guess, goes into why I take so long when doing cars because there's just like in this one I felt like in this passage in particular, I felt like there was a lot going on and also a lot that I didn't understand. Like I didn't understand what they meant by Christmas crib lies under the shadow of the cross. And then like there like the other quote where they talk about like all this stuff here. I was really struggling to comprehend what they were trying to portray
yeah,
when talking about it. Like all I got is that there's a connection. Like I understood this, but I don't understand like the quote like was kind of tripping me up too.
yeah. I mean, don't worry too much about quotes because they'll be from some person that is in the field, so they'll be using jargon as well as likely being a quote from some earlier time period, which is not very easy for us to, in modern day.
Yeah.
But from what your map, everything seems like you were able to understand perfectly. You understood um that we talked about Johnson in paragraph two, we talked about Brown in paragraph three, and we talked about Messiaen being influenced by Marmion in paragraph four. So I think your map is pretty perfect. But that main idea is so when you do your main idea, that's when you look for those repeated arguments. So you would look at his works convey Catholic faith in that's in one paragraph, so it's not going to be in our main idea. And influence of others, he's only influenced by Marmion, so others plural wouldn't work.
It's wrong, yeah.
And then how is he influenced by others, right? So you want it to be, your main idea, is not a summary, but it's an argument, right? So,
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe that's also another problem I was having.
mhm.
That I was
It,
so I began eventually, it was no longer about the argument for me. Because I feel like every time I do a map, I just end up putting the main idea as like kind of like this is what was said over and over again, but it's not really an argument that the author is trying to portray.
yeah, because for an argument, there's a stance. right?
Yes.
I mean, it's, for pre-meds, you guys are very like obviously like science oriented, which is all about objective,
Mhm.
objective, and therefore not about arguments. So, no one can deny that Messiaen shows his Catholic faith, and that he's influenced by others. Like it's so vague that you can't really argue against it,
Mhm.
which makes it not very much of an argument, right? So
Yeah.
in order for an argument to be an argument, you want it to, have a particular stance.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so here the repeated arguments, right, would be paragraph 3, relationship between, birth and death, right? So,
Mhm.
and then paragraph 4 connects Christ's birth to death, right? And then paragraph 5, you wrote Easter has to do with Christmas. So that also relates Christ's death to his birth, right?
Yeah.
So we see that repeated in paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. So that's our main idea.
Mhm.
That's our main idea because it's repeated
Yeah.
and because it's an argument. So you just want to be more specific. So I think your map is perfect except for that main idea.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So, which of the following is most strongly suggested by Raymond Brown's quotation in the passage? So, Brown is mentioned in paragraph 3. And oh yeah, so this is I think I mean,
Got to here, let me block it.
yeah. So, Brown's argument was that there's a relationship between Christmas and or the birth of Christ and the death of Christ.
Hmm.
So, later scholars contested the link between Christmas and Easter. Um, his I don't think his quote had to do with later scholars. It just had to do with the relationship between Christmas and Easter.
Hmm.
Christmas was not originally dated to the time of Jesus' birth. This doesn't really go with, I mean, it doesn't really make sense in terms of his argument. It's not arguing against Christmas, it's arguing that there's a link between Christmas and Easter.
Okay.
Easter stories were influenced by information about Jesus' birth. This would make sense because it's talking about the linkage between Easter and then Jesus' birth is Christmas. And then the first stories of Christ's birth differed from those we see today. That's not mentioned. I mean, it is mentioned, but it's not, the quote doesn't say it, I don't think.
So, okay. So this one is gonna involve information that we did not put in our map. And that's why I'm gonna let you use the passage here. And sometimes this happens.
Yeah. I see that it talks about, it says, we're talking about Brown, and it does say, where Brown is paragraph 3. Early Christian writers rewrote the birth stories in light of later insights.
Mhm.
So the first stories, I guess it does make sense. The first stories of Christ's birth differs from those that we see today.
Yeah. So C is very, very tempting because it connects um uh Easter to Christ's birth.
Yes.
So why
Um,
wouldn't that be a choice?
because it um Um, because it talks about that they're existing a relationship, but not necessarily one causing influence on the other. Is
Um,
that, I mean, I guess it's tripping me up.
uh-huh. So they're asking us about the quotation,
Yeah.
and the quotation is trying to tell you,
Oh, about how writers changed it.
yeah, they changed what?
They changed the stories
Of?
of his birth.
Yep. The birth stories were changed and influenced by, you know, information about Jesus's death, but it's not the other way around. It's not
Okay.
that it's that the birth story is influenced by the death story rather than the death story is influenced by the birth story.
Yeah.
So, and that's what's meant by, because otherwise the crib wouldn't be under the shadow of the cross. The cross
Yeah.
would be under the shadow of the crib, right?
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
You see how 27% shows that? So,
I think I was part of the original 27%.
so I mean, yeah, you're not alone. But yeah, when you get, I don't know if I said this before, but if you can get to the point where you can not only figure out which answer is right and not only figure out which answers are wrong and not only figure out the right reason for them being wrong, but to also find like the trap answer,
Yeah.
one that they want you to pick. So yeah.
Okay. Is there any way we can move this?
Yeah, only you can do it. If you go to
It's,
the annotate tool, there's a selection button.
okay. Where's the annotate? Annotate.
Yep, and a little bar should come up. And there,
And
yeah.
uh,
So in that bar, what do you so on
oh,
the
I see it. Yeah, I see it. Now do the selection.
yeah,
Nope, it's not working. That's the mouse. What was there a different tool? Select. Oh, it all moves. Okay.
yeah, you can
Oh, okay. Can I go like this? Oh,
yeah. So just select them, or you could do it like that, yeah.
sorry. I'm not the best with technology.
Very good.
Okay. Uh, where'd the main idea go? Oh, there it is. Okay. 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 So, for which historical findings, if true, would most likely raise questions about the conclusion reported in the passage? So, the conclusion is the main idea that there is a connection between Christmas and Easter.
Okay.
For Catholics, Easter is viewed as more a time of renewal and less a time of contemplating death. Um, so raising questions about this wouldn't necessarily raise any questions about it because it doesn't really impact the argument that's being made.
Which one, which choice are you talking about?
A. Oh, sorry. A.
Um, Easter is viewed more as a time of renewal and less as a time of contemplating death. Okay.
Some Christians believe that Christ's death on the cross freed them from the obligations to live morally. There's not like this. I feel like these two kind of are the same thing, where it's like it doesn't necessarily talk about what each like it talks about how Christmas is related to the birth, Easter is related to the death, but it doesn't go into any excess detail about like the obligations
Mhm.
of what certain Christians believe.
Yeah, so we can start off like this, right? So this is a weakener question, right?
Yes.
So you could take, and it's talking about the conclusion. So what we can do is we can take our conclusion and flip it and see what agrees with that. So if our conclusion is le verbe, connects the birth of Christ to the death of Christ, we would want to see something that would say perhaps that it doesn't connect the two or something like that.
Okay, so finding the opposite basically.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Massian was a avowed atheist who did not convert to Catholicism until after composing Liber Day. Um, this doesn't go into the linkage. Like it's not saying the opposite. But my confusion with this one is that if he's an atheist, then I mean converted after, but then doesn't that kind of go against like I don't know.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
the main idea, I definitely um I guess didn't include something that you originally included that this Leverbe shows you like his kind of Catholic faith, right?
Hmm.
So that could also be one of the conclusions. So yeah, flipping the main idea, I guess, won't always. I mean, it usually is a good tactic, but um, but sometimes the main idea could have stuff that we don't write as our main idea, but it could still work. So yeah, if this piece, so I'll add to the main idea what you wrote, that this is his, conveying, you know, his Catholic faith, perhaps.
Mm, um,
Or rather, convey truths of Catholic faith, right?
so that's where my confusion comes in, I guess. Well,
Hmm.
maybe because if he was an atheist, then how is that can if it's after he wrote Liber
Hmm.
then how is that revealing the truths of his Catholic faith? Because he converted after.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then the story of birth was not documented by Christian scholars until well after Christ died on the cross. I mean, does that really even matter? Because it was documented eventually, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that one can be considered probably like out of scope because we don't really have a conclusion about whether whether it's documented or not, or whether it happened or not, even. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, so see.
Mhm.
The author's primary purpose is to, so this is the main idea question.
Okay.
Uh, um, so I would probably expect to find it to be about how Laverbe will connect birth and death of Christ.
Okay.
So discuss the Catholic belief in death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But this doesn't include the birth part, so it's missing a key principle of the main idea.
Okay.
Articulate how Laverde both resembles and differs from Catholic dogma. Um, I mean, what exactly is meant by Catholic dogma? Like the belief of Catholic person? So, I mean, this doesn't go into how it differs from like a Catholic person's beliefs.
Hmm.
It's talking about how there's that connection between Easter and Christmas. Explain the theological understanding that underlies Massian's Liber. I would say that this probably aligns
Hmm.
and then establish that Laverbe was influenced by Massillon's Catholicism. I also think this aligns though, because it conveys the truth of his faith. So wouldn't that be important?
Hmm.
So I feel like it's more D because the whole purpose of Laverbe is it says that in the first paragraph the number one purpose was for Massillon to convey his first intention is always to convey the truth of his work and the truth of his work or the truth of his faith.
Okay. Um, but we did just say that in that first paragraph.
Oh yes, it should be a not localized thing. It should be an everything thing. So then would it be C because that's said more like everywhere?
Hmm.
Oh my God, so many C's in a row.
Mm.
The point of Robert Sherlaw Johnson, the point that Robert Sherlaw Johnson, paragraph 2, makes about Laverbe is vulnerable. Sorry, my laptop is dirty. Is vulnerable to which of the following criticisms? Okay, so now we have to go into what he's trying to say in paragraph 2. He says that Laverbe is functional and has nothing to do with Messian belief of Catholicism. So now I'm trying to find why this argument is weak,
Yep.
right? Okay. He ignores some of the finer points of Catholic theology regarding Jesus. I mean, this doesn't really have to do with his argument is that love the hymn that's used is only a functionality. It has nothing to do with beliefs. So to say this would be not weaken its argument. It has nothing to really do with his argument.
Okay.
Okay. He fails to take into account obvious information about Messiaen. The first thing I thought when I was reading this was that this answer is really vague. Like,
Okay.
so, and it's like, I guess, like, what's the obvious information that it's referring to is why I question that choice.
So we wrote Messiaen used Easter Catholic hymns in La Verbe. Johnson says that he used this ancient thing, and he said it was functional. But what does functional mean? It seems like it means that it's not about his belief. When I say his belief, I mean Messiaen's belief. Then we have a big contrast word, but this may not be true because Messiaen's because Messiaen has theological intentions. So this question's asking that whatever Johnson says, like what can you how can you weaken.
So I guess this would kind of weaken it because it's obvious that he's trying to portray his Catholic faith.
Mhm.
He misreads formal similarities between La Verbe and Easter songs. Um, I mean, this wouldn't necessarily do anything for the argument.
Mhm.
And then he unjustifiably dismisses evidence for Messiaen's reading history. The reason I had like not thought it was this was because his reading history has to do with Marmion, so wouldn't it be out of scope for Johnson?
Are you saying like wouldn't it be localization?
Yeah, like it's not localized to John like paragraph 2. That's in paragraph 4.
Yep.
Okay. Um, which view expressed by the author is most important for readers to share if they are to be convinced of the passage's arguments? There are some commonalities in the stories of Jesus' beginning and end. So this goes with the main idea, the main argument. Without the story of Jesus' birth, the story of his death would not make sense, or the story of his birth would not make sense. I don't think this makes sense because they're two separate stories. It's trying to explain the connection. So, I mean, they're two, I guess I saw them as two separate entities, you don't need one for the other, but they are connected. Messiaen wanted the Verbe to stand as a testament to the rightness of Catholicism. I think this is too not about what the main idea is about the connection. It's too localized to paragraph one.
Okay.
In the Bible, Jesus left the world in the exact same way he entered it. This is wrong because, I mean, isn't this not true?
What, D?
Yeah, like D, like it doesn't say anything about this in the passage. It actually talks about two different, like it talks about how he died and was resurrected. So like I just thought this didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that again, your map was great, except for that main idea, and you want that main idea to be, uh, repeated arguments in the passage, as well as you want it to be like a definitive stance, like an argumentative stance, instead of it
Yeah.
being vague. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So I ended up moving it, so we have more time now to, I guess, try. I can get my score up now. And then in terms of, I should just, I'm gonna, I guess moving forward, I'm taking full length test two tomorrow, or not test two, test four tomorrow. And then, yeah, I guess I'll just keep doing U World and stuff.
Yeah, you said blueprint test four.
Yes, tomorrow I'm supposed to take a full length four.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take full length. So yeah, I don't know. Do I have any other meetings set up with you? I don't think I do.
Um, correct.
Okay, I'll probably schedule something for Fridays moving forward. But
Yep.
yeah,
I'd say to get that, do it soon before, it gets booked.
yeah. Is it open right now?
Mm-hmm.
I just need to find your calendar thing. No, it takes me always like a second to get the link.
Oh yeah, I can give that to you.
Yeah, can you drop it in the chat? And then I'll just save it in my notes or something so I can book all of them. Do you think meeting once a week is enough, or do you think I should be doing like twice? Like, how should I be like, I guess like what's the best thing for me to do moving forward since I see a little bit of an improvement, but I want to see like I want to maximize my gain.
Yeah, I think we should maybe meet twice a week just because like for instance today we went over cars, but I'd like for us to go over especially from your previous practice test, like questions from CP, questions from BB. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say twice a week would be good. Maybe
Do
like on one day going over the sciences, on the other day going over cars.
you think 1 hour each, like for twice a week is better, or should I like do the full 2 hours?
Well, I mean, if it's 1 hour twice a week, it'll be the same that
Yeah,
we're
same thing. Yeah.
now, and cars typically takes longer, and then for the other sessions, I would say that we would be able to do like all the sciences like TPBB. Um,
Yeah.
I would say like it's probably best to do like 2 2-hour sessions a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because
And
because yeah,
yes.
I want us to like thoroughly review the tests as you take them.
Yeah.
Because
And
if
that might be my problem. I feel like I always come to you and I'm like scared about my car score and I never go for anything else.
yeah, because I want to because yeah, it seems like the scores are pretty stagnant at the moment, so I definitely want us to meet like so if you're doing a test every weekend, or every week, it would make sense for us to meet to go over stuff from that test, stuff from the sciences of the test, and then stuff from the cars. So yeah, I would say uh, 2 2-hour meetings a week would be good.
Okay.
Yep.
I will try to get on the schedule for that then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how much is it going to be for today?
Uh, yeah, we had a shorter session today, so this will just
Yeah, it's 'cause I have a meeting at 3:30, unfortunately, for my job.
Yep. Yep. So it should just be 132.
Okay, perfect. I will transfer that over to you. And
Yep.
then I need to, and I do you recommend I buy the next, um, like I should buy the next section bank or should I renew my UWorld subscription to be longer until March?
Oh, when is it expire now?
It expires January.
Okay. Yeah. We have time. We have time. So you don't have
Okay.
to get that now because you have all the blueprint tests and uh
Sorry, you said 132, right?
yeah.
I just sent you 132. Uh-oh, wrong account. Stop. Sorry, I must sent it from the wrong account. That was stressful. Okay. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, oh, nothing. Or I don't remember. What were you saying?
You said I have all the blueprint exams.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you have a lot of stuff already. So yeah, there's no rush. For
Okay.
that. Yeah. And awesome. And then yeah, just schedule. I would schedule Tuesday next week. And awesome. Yeah.
And if I finish New World, then how will that affect my expense schedule? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. I mean that'll take a while, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, that'll take a while. So we'll see once that happens.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Take care.